speaker who is going to talk on our role of pelvic floor muscles in delivery versus C-section. Dr. Diksha is going to speak on this. Dr. Diksha, as I already introduced to her, she is one of my best juniors, and many women health physios look for her because she is very young and dynamic. She is doing a lot to the society regarding this women health issues. And we are proud to have you here, Dr. Diksha. Dr. Diksha is also an author of book, It's All About Pregnancy, founder of Hormonal Wings and Perfect 10, maternity rehab and physiotherapy clinic for women's health and counseling. She is also a life member of All India All Ladies League, Women Economic Forum, Public Health Volunteer at United Nations. And she is also a licensed instructor of a pelvic floor rehab, pre-postnatal fitness specialist, and she is also trained in transvaginal and transrectal pelvic floor rehab specialist. I would like to invite Dr. Diksha to speak more on these particular issues.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you, sir, for this wonderful webinar and for this wonderful topic. Okay, I will start without wasting a minute. So, my today's agenda, basically, what I'm going to cover today, my topic is basically a role of PFM in delivery, that is normal delivery and C-section. So, I'm going to differentiate what is going with your pelvic floor muscles when you're opting for normal delivery and when you're opting for cesarean section. So, today I'm going to cover first the basic about pelvic floor muscle, the all muscles and pelvic bone model, and the all over around it, what is their function, their role, and what is the normal pregnancy, and what is going with all 3 trimester in pregnancy, and your childbirth, their types, and what is going the impact on pelvic floor muscle with all childbirth. So this is like, and at the end we'll discuss the basic principle to avoid PFT. So we'll start with this model. So as you can see, this is the basic pelvic model. You can see this is the 2 ischial bone. This is like pubic in front and coccyx in the back. So this whole forms your pelvic bone, pelvic model. So there you see a cavity is here. This cavity is filled by your pelvic floor muscles. As you can see in this model, it is more visible. So 2 ischial bone is there, 2 stitch bone, and your pubic bone in front, your coccyx and sacrum at the back, and your pelvic floor muscles fill this cavity. So as you can see, these are like a fist. So and what their main function? Their main function is basically to just support the pelvic organ. You can see these are the organs. They use to support the pelvic organ, and they also use in the stability. As you can see, ये stability में भी आपको spine and lumbar के base में ये इसका central muscle, central part है. यहाँ पे center of gravity भी आपका second sacral पे was like रहेगा, तो it's like a you support your pelvic organ and stability too. And besides, this also work as a sphincter because it helps you to continent. It's because of this muscle only we are not leaking our urine and feces, and it's also helpful in breathing. When we are breathing, we are using our core muscles, and it's also help in childbirth, defecation, voiding, the number of uses. So it's a multitasker muscle, as you can see. So we'll start with, now we talk about the muscle already, this function. So as you can see, the muscle is basically divided into 3 parts. This is the superficial, mid part, and the inner part is also there. So in the superficial part, what we are having your, is visual now? We are having your this ischiocavernous muscle, bulbous spongious, your superficial transverse perineal, your perineal body is there. You can see this lip-like structure. This is bulbous spongious. Then become the anal sphincter. External anal sphincter is there in superficial part. Inner part, you will get to see your urethral sphincter is there, your compressed muscles, your levator ani, pubo and iliococcygeus is there, and your basic deep transverse perineal muscle is also there. In the inner part, this endopelvic fascia is there. and pudendal nerve and pudendal artery is there to help it with basic functions. So now we start with the pregnancy. As you can see with this model, when a woman is she's getting pregnant, what is going with her? There's an organ. This is uterus. You can see. So this uterus is like this. So in front, in anterior pelvic organ, we are having your bladder. In between, you are having your uterus, and in posterior side, we are having your rectum. So in between, we are having your uterus. It's like in this shape. So when we are non-pregnant state, but when we are getting pregnant, it's like the structure is holding your baby inside, and it's like standing in this way. So it will going to push your bladder, and beside posterior side, your rectum is also pushing because of this growing baby, and the maternal weight is also there, and hormonal changes is also there. So let's talk about pregnancy. When the pregnancy is there, we divide the pregnancy into basic 3 trimesters. First trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. In the first trimester, what we are seeing is number of hormonal changes are there. The woman is adapting things. She is full of vomit, nausea, morning sickness. So the things are like she's always most of time she is using her washroom. Means she's peeing more. Her pelvic floor muscle is working started working like a cradle to her baby, growing baby. So the pelvic floor muscle here work as a cradle during pregnancy, and during childbirth they will help in childbirth too. So it is like in first trimester she is like peeing more. When it comes to second trimester, the baby is just somewhat started growing, and the mother is also having some musculoskeletal and some organal changes are also there. So her baby started pushing all organs now in second trimester. So due to hormone progesterone, the level is too high. So the ligament laxity now is there, and you can also found the woman is more constipated. She is like she used to strain her pelvic floor muscle. So as you can see from this model, she is like when the woman is pregnant and she is in her third trimester, she used to just anterior tilt is more there. Due to anterior tilting, her lordotic posture is there. She is more anterior tilting, means her glutes muscle is underused. Her pelvic floor, posterior pelvic floor muscle is overused, and anterior pelvic floor muscle is underused. So as we can see, due to postural deformity is also there. Due to postural deformity, she is also facing breathing disorder, and her diaphragm is also pushed because of the growing baby. In third trimester, she is leaking her urine, means incontinence chances is more, likely to more than in first and second trimester. So as we already see, first trimester she is peeing more because of hormone. In second trimester, because of ligament laxity, there is less stability of pelvic floor muscle, and in third trimester, postural dysfunctions is in position, more in tuck-in position, this. Her anterior tilting is more, and lordotic posture is there. Means there's too much pressure in whole pregnancy. There's too much pressure. The pelvic floor muscle is going under hormonal changes, skeletal changes, and some due to ligament laxity, instability is also there. So they are under overuse too, and some part is underuse and some part is overuse. Means pressure, strain, and stretch all over the pelvic floor muscle, and it's like a cradle to your baby. Then here comes the part of your labor. So labor basically divided into 3 phases when it comes to your actual labor, true labor. So here comes the part your cervix was like this hole. It will open, and it will come to 10 centimeter, from 2 to 10 centimeter. So in first stage, this dilation of cervix is there in the first stage of labor. In the second part, the delivery of baby is there through vagina. And in the third part, delivery of placenta is there. So as you can see, labor is not something which is going to end in half an hour or in 15 to 20 minutes. This is like a first stage, as if it is visible. First start up with 30 seconds. Relaxation is more, then contraction increases slowly. Then it will, during delivery, it will be like 1 to 1.5 minute contraction, then relaxation time is short. So basically, during labor, the women is going through too much of pressure, and the chances of pressure and hindrance is more, because if the baby's head is too big, then it was like stuck, or there are like many more chances are there ki, the woman is dehydrated, then it is somewhere ki she is exhausted. So in all cases, the pelvic floor muscles is like it is getting traumatized during your labor phase. Too much pressure, too much strain, stretch, and trauma to your pelvic floor muscle during labor. Then comes to the childbirth part. When we talk about the childbirth is not only your normal vaginal birth, or what you call normal delivery. We divide the childbirth into four basic parts. First is your normal delivery. Second is your episiotomy with normal delivery. Third one is your venous extraction or your forceps delivery. Fourth is your cesarean section. So when we talk about normal delivery, so women body is just made for your vaginal birth. So you are having your vagina, and your cervix will dilate, and your baby will slowly come out through your vagina. But in some cases, it is going to just tear up your this is your muscle. You can see this is your tiny hole inside, and it is going to just get a baby of 2 to 3 kg. Sometimes 4 kg baby is also there. So and the skull head of the baby, it is coming through that hole only. So due to relaxin hormone and progesterone, ligament laxity is there, and the perineal muscle will stretch. Automatically they will stretch, and the baby head will come out. So it will tear, and vaginal laxity will be there. So in case of normal delivery, the chances of pelvic floor dysfunction and the trauma and the chances of vaginal laxity, means the sexual dysfunction chances are more when it comes to normal delivery. Then there comes the second part is episiotomy. So as we talk about the vaginal delivery is there, means the vaginal delivery can tear your this perineal part. Perineal tear can be there. So perineal tear can be up to, as you can see, perineal tear can be up to your, just limited to your soft tissue, can spread to your both side of vaginal wall, can spread to your anus, and can spread to your rectal fissure. So perineal tear can be more in case of that vaginal delivery, chances is more. So your doctor will opt for, if your baby head is too big, they will opt for just go for episiotomy. It's an incision made between your perineal body and vagina. So incision can be your medial and medial lateral. But the chances is, if in near future it is healed, it will heal in some time, but it is not going to strengthen as same. So it will cause pelvic floor dysfunctions in near future. Then we comes to the third part of our childbirth, that is forceps delivery and venous extraction. If you watch the movie Three Idiots, you saw that lady is going through number of she can't bear pressure due to exhaustion is there. So there's like the baby head is just stuck somewhere in your bone part. The baby head is skull is stuck, and baby is FSR rate is also chronic. So what they do, they just take a funnel, this half semicircle cup, and with the help of some external device, they just put the cap of the head on the baby's skull and just extract the baby and help in the childbirth. Same with the forceps delivery, we are taking it as an external work to just help for the childbirth. But in both cases, we are just somewhere torturing your pelvic floor muscle from external part too, because in internally you have already just punctured your traumatized your pelvic floor muscle for your 9 months. Now we are just torturing your external part too in the during delivery. Now we comes to our final part, that is your C-section. Whenever we talk about C-section, the myth is there that when it comes to C-section, the pain will be less and no pain will be there, and complication likely to be less. But C-section is what? C-section is basically surgical delivery of baby. Here we are going to make a cut on your just your pubic symphysis, 2 finger above your pubic symphysis on abdomen, and second incision on your uterus, and we'll just take out the baby and just cut the cord and just have the baby. But it is not likely to end up here, because for whole 9 months, whole pregnancy, you just already put it that load on your pelvic floor muscle. Now after prolonged hour of that your labor, you just opted for your C-section. So C-section is basically divided into two parts. First one is your emergency, second is your planned cesarean section. So if you are going for your planned cesarean section, that means you are somewhere less likely to have some PFD chances is less likely to have. But in case of emergency, you already gone through labor, pregnancy, pressure is already there. That means the chances of pelvic floor dysfunction is more with your core dysfunctions. What are core dysfunction? Core dysfunction is basically four muscles involved: your pelvic floor, transverse abdominis, breath, multifidus, and from the upper part, your diaphragm. That means your breathing is hindered somewhere too. So cesarean section is not a promise that you are going to just with a great pelvic floor muscle or a good strengthening muscle. So cesarean section is an option if you are going if you are having any high risk pregnancy. But in case of emergency, we just go for if the baby head is stuck somewhere, or if the baby is FHR rate, fetus heart rate is just like dropping or getting too high, or mother high BP is there. So in such cases, we go for emergency, or prolonged labor hour, we go for emergency C-section. Otherwise, planned C-section is from starting that woman is having some birth defect or the baby is having some birth defect. So we choose for that planned cesarean section. So planned one is good, but emergency one is going to just put too much pressure on your core part too. So now we come to pelvic floor dysfunction. What are the dysfunctions we got through? Dysfunctions like incontinence, urine leakage is there postpartum after your baby, and your prolapse chances because of vaginal laxity. Your that strength is already the vaginal is already loose. Your vaginal muscle is already loose, so that these organs they can fall out from these vaginal laxity. These loose muscles. So prolapse chances is there, and pelvic pain chances is also there due to postural dysfunctions. So as a pelvic floor rehab therapist, what I guide you ki, most of us are not pelvic floor rehab therapists, but all of us are physiotherapists. So we can work for, if you are going for any, you're going to see any woman who is pregnant, you can work for three basic principles. That is, just go for A, B, C. A is your alignment, B is your breathing, C is your coordination. So alignment is something. Just whenever you see a woman, just check for if her that pelvis is in neutral position, either not posterior or not anterior tilting is there. Just check her posture and guide her for posture part. Then second one is your breathing. Breathing is something. Breathing is not only it's of four kind. First is your clavicle breathing. You see that your shoulder is going up down. Second is your thorax breathing. Your chest is going up and down with the breathing. That's totally wrong when it goes to your pregnancy part or either your normal part for your posture. Then third goes your abdominal breathing. Your abdominal is full of air. Then just exhale and inhale. Then the fourth comes the all four together. All three together. All three together means you just ask your patient to inhale slowly through your nose, through her nose. And she can feel her abdomen is full of air, her lung will expand, her pelvic floor muscle will go down, and when she exhales, she can exhale through mouth to feel her muscle in pursed lip position. So what she will feel, her pelvic floor muscle is contracting, her abdomen is going in, means her transverse abdominis muscle is somewhere activating, and her that lung part is going down. So it is like she's using her all core four muscles like transverse abdominis, multifidus, diaphragm, and pelvic floor. When she's inhaling, it's like this, and exhaling, it's like this. So it's like her pelvic floor muscle is somewhere activating, means your blood circulation is there, and she's breathing properly. That means she's in proper posture. So first is alignment, means posture, breathing, proper breathing, using a core breath. We call it core breath. Then third is the coordination. Coordination means whatever exercise she is doing, either she is going for aerobic, her yoga, her whatever exercise, she can just coordinate it with a proper posture and breathing. So she don't have to just tuck her lip and just clench her teeth so to do the exercise, because she don't have to run a marathon and there's a missing link between a pregnancy. What is this? To prepare for your childbirth and postpartum healing. This is a missing link between your pregnancy. When a lady is pregnant, we have to prepare her for childbirth and her postpartum healing. If you are just like, if you're gone through either of delivery, this is the condition she's gone through. So we have to tell her that this is the condition you will go through. So prepare for it mentally to avoid postpartum depression and to avoid that your PFT, the pelvic floor dysfunctions. So what other suggestion you can give? Other suggestions like just ask her to wear minimal shoes, maintain proper posture, do the Kegel exercise, just go for the proper breathing positions are there, and just go for normal stretches of hams and calves, and just go for proper fluid intake, not for as she can be exhausted at any time. So this is it. At the end, I would like to steal one slide for myself. That is, my goal is to make pelvic health more integrated and universal practice for all individuals, regardless of gender, age, and stages of life. Okay, thank you, ma'am. This is it. Ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Dr. Diksha.
Yes, sir. Just tell me if you have any doubt.
We are just waiting for the questions once again.
Okay, sir.
As the session has just finished.
And sir, I just like to answer the one question that the very first poster presentation she has taken. The pain, the chronic pelvic pain is somewhat associated with your that part. Your postpartum health is associated with your postpartum depression. She's somewhere like her posture part is like, okay, her alignment part is like postpartum depression very later. Okay, it will hinder after 15 to 16 days of your baby birth. So postpartum health started from your 9-month only. It's not something when you comes to postpartum. It's from antenatal part only.
Wow. So I hope the presenters are listening and they'll update their information on it. So as it is, we all know the control and the expertise on the subject you have is really amazing.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions?
Right.
Any questions in the house? I must say the example was very apt and perfect as you actually used that 3 idiots situation.
Actually, I just when I'm talking, I just got that one. I didn't just prepare it.
I know. You are just apt. Okay, now we have a question. The question is, in labor, also we can exercise, as you told, 3 stages of labor.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we can go for in the very first part as a first 3 trimester is there. First, second, third. So in the first trimester, as the woman is adjusting to the new baby, someone is new to her bone. So what you have to do, just start with basic relaxation is there, Kegels you can go for. Just you can go for postural awareness. Means education part is more. In second, just go for strengthening with Kegels. In third, just go for modified Kegels, birth positions, and education is again in the third part regarding your childbirth and postpartum healing.
There's one more question.
Yes, sir.
What? Oh no. Any further questions? Dr. Manjula, would you like to?
Yeah. It was a wonderful session. As it is, you rocked it.
Thank you.
Is an amazing thing, and the examples which you have used are really good. I hope it is very clear to everyone. Well, if we need to emphasize on certain exercises, what is your suggestion during pregnancy?
My suggestion is basically, ma'am, just go for proper posture, breathing, and basic exercise. Just like you can go for walking regularly, cycling, and just go for therapeutic ball exercise. Just go for pelvic floor muscle stretching from the third trimester. Because and perineal massage. Just you can go for. This is your vaginal part. Just she can go for. Either her partner can help her. She can go for just for trigger and just relax, stretch it, hold it, and then release. Stretch in a very gentle way. Because this is it now. This muscle is very gentle, and your baby is inside. So you have to do it very gentle. If you can't do it, just your partner can go for it. So perineal massage is so important when it comes to pelvic health.
How about this particular perineal massage during some spotting or other things are there? If there is a leakage of fluid and all
that. If there is leakage of fluid now, it's like what is the reason? Means the fluid is leaked because of tight muscles too, because of loose muscles. So if it is like a loose muscle, then you have to go for strengthening.
Yes.
And if it is like tight muscle, then you have to go for muscle relaxation is there. So no need of I think this perineal massage, because perineal massage is somewhere now, because childbirth is going to them. So we have to prepare it for childbirth. No need, no other need of perineal massage.
That's really great.
So just work on the reason ki what is the cause. Ki either loose, or if it is loose now, just go for tightness. Go for Kegel's tightness, strengthening. And if it is like too tight, just go for relaxation, modified Kegels. It means we can go for core breath. Instead of the Kegel stuff, we can go for core breath. You have to just breathe in, just relax your pelvic floor muscle. When you are having too tight muscle, just try to hold the muscle. And then just relax it, normalize it. When you are having too loose muscles, what you have to do, just breathe in and try to hold that muscle while you are breathing out. You don't have to just hold your breath. Just try to hold that muscle, or start with count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to hold that symmetry for 5 count particular or 10 count. And on a regular session, we have to increase the count. And we can just check the strengthening with the help of dilators or pereniometer. Whatever you are having it, you can just check it, or with a finger too. It's like 2 fingers can hold, 1 finger can hold.
Okay. So, would you like to say something about the assessment of that particular tightness or looseness or something like that?
Yeah, you can go for Oxford method, like just go for try to, with the help of finger, with the help of dilator, whatever you can, just try to ask her to, if she can, she can't just flicker. It's true. It's like she can hold, or she can't just put the finger. Then it's vaginismus, that the muscle is too tight.
Yes.
Yeah.
This helps her. Very good. And I hope we have one more question. In labor also, we can exercise, as we told, 3 stages of labor. Yes, Simranjit Kaur ma'am. Yes, that's true. And the perineal massage direction she is asking about. And how you explain patient reverse Kegels, it's difficult to make them understand.
Reverse Kegels is basically in normal what you're doing, just asking your patient to contract and hold it and then relax it. In reverse Kegels, you are just engaging it with breath. You are just asking to inhale, and she's just trying to relax it. And whenever then she has to maintain that relax, because at the time of childbirth, she has to relax her muscle. Because during the childbirth, as we see, you see in the 90s movie, there's like she will hold her nurse hand, and she can hold her, and she's clenching her teeth. And this is wrong, because whenever we are clenching our teeth or holding the bed sheet, that means we are just somewhere tightening our pelvic floor muscle. So what we have to ask the lady, whenever contraction is there in labor, ask her to just try to relax the muscle. and then when the contraction is just like contraction is gone, then ask her to just feel free, relax. She don't have to relax that time. She don't have to push that time. Why? Because if she's just wasting her energy that time, then she is not going to use on the right side.
And Simranjit Kaur ma'am is asking about perineal massage direction.
Yeah, ma'am. Basically, ma'am, perineal massage direction is like a calm. You can just go for. You have to just stretch, okay, and just hold for start with 2 count, then relax. Then you can just go for up to down, okay. Then you can again hold, and just you don't have to insert your finger because there amniotic fluid is there. You don't have to break the that fluid. You don't have to break the sac.
Yes.
So you can just slightly go for massage. You don't need any observation, but you don't have to go with the harsh end, or you just brutally don't have to go for it. Just slightly, mildly. You are like just stretching. This is like muscle. You have to just hold it and just stretch it. Hold it, stretch it.
Great.
Yeah.
That's really great. Any other questions, ma'am? I hope it's clear. No other questions, dear Diksha. It was really a wonderful session. Thank you for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything for you.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Thank you, dear. I would request Dr. Himanshu sir to invite our next speaker, that is Dr. Jagdishan Alagesan sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manjula. Our next speaker is equally dignified and experienced. He is one of our well-known eminent personality in the industry. He is Dr. Jagdishan Alagesan. Dr. Jagdishan is serving as a professor and principal at Savita College of Physiotherapy. It's a deemed university in